It's so important to set goals. We set goals on a daily basis. You know, from being a child to saying you want to ride your bike, that's a goal that you set. You notice that when a child set goals, they're very persistent. When did we lose that persistentness? I mean, look at a child that's learning how to walk, right? Falls down, but what does the child do? Get right back up. Falls down, get right back up. I mean, falls on the mud, on the ground, on the grass, falls from anywhere and everywhere and gets back up. The fear of getting hurt isn't there. It's just the boldness of I have to walk. I cannot just sit here, crawl. I have to walk.
Mighty King, give him all the glory, mighty King, yes he is.
But that's one of the things that God has been ministering me lately. You know, it's order. You know, God is a God of order, and He wants his children to be organized. You know, we as Christians and as human beings, we can't go on in life without a set schedule for things. You know, we can't just go out and about and do things without having things written down. You know, that will make us unorganized. God ministered me in a way that now, you know, because of ministry, because of church, because of my wife, because of my marriage, now, you know, I see things differently, you know, so I organize myself where I have a set schedule. You know, I got a schedule where, I wake up early in the morning. I have my time with God. I have my breakfast with my wife. I go to work and while I work, if I do anything, outside my work area, I also put it on my calendar. You know, if I go to the gym, it's on my calendar. Time for the kids. Very important.
What about you, Jovian? How do you set these goals and follow them through?
It's sort of the same way. You know, you have to set goals, daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals. And I work everything around, you know, God, around my family, around the ministry, around the church. Everything's got to link together somehow. One area cannot take over the other. You know, it all has to have a balance.
So 2018 is upon us, and everybody sets goals on what they want to do, where they want to go, goals of losing weight or getting closer to God or starting a business. How do you set goals in your personal life?
First of all, I pray and make sure that my goals are led by the Spirit. Because I've set goals in the past, and yes, I've accomplished them. But then I find myself saying, now what?
These things that they want to do. Some people want to write a book. Some people want to write a play. Some people want to lose weight. Some people want to get a new job.
I would say the most important thing you have to do is put God first above all things. You know, when you put Him first, and when you honor that, He'll honor you. He'll honor that faith. You know, and if I hadn't put Him first in these things, if I hadn't allowed His Spirit to lead me and guide me, it wouldn't have finished. You know,
my daughter, Raziel, my oldest, she's 4 years old. She's about to be 5, but she's 4 years old. And it's so surprising to me. The moment she looks at me, she did it just a couple days ago, and she says, "You're smart, you're intelligent, you're wise, you're beautiful, you're strong, you're courageous, and you can be anything you want to be." And these were the same words that I've been telling my wife for years, and the same words I've been telling my daughters since before they were birthed, and they're speaking it back to me. I believe it's so important that you surround yourself with people that will nourish your vision, because in order for you to have an effective goal, number one, you have to have a mission statement. And there are those people that will find your mission statement too scary, too bold. But there are those who will be inspired by your mission statement, by the work you want to do and what you want to accomplish, that they will come along, not simply to hitch a ride and be bandwagons. No. They'll actually want to be part of what you are doing. They'll want to be a part of what you're setting to do. So number one, I think it's important for us to have a mission statement. Within your mission statement, you should be able to answer the question, why? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to obtain that? When I decided that I wanted to start the podcast, it was something I had been thinking about for months and months and months. And I mentioned it to my wife, and she said 2 questions: why and how? And I said, well, the why is simple. I want to be able to provide value to those who want to have an impact when they're setting goals, experiencing particular things in their lives, moments of difficulty, moments of jubilee. I want to be able to help them have an impact. And she said, that's all fine and dandy, but how? And my answer was, I don't know. It is necessary for you to be able to answer the why in the goal that you're setting. I want to learn how to drive is what many teenagers will say. And when you ask them their why is always, well, because I want to be independent. Well, my friend, if you want to be independent, throw out the trash. If you want to be independent, clean your room without anyone telling you to. If you want to be independent, set your own alarm. If you want to be independent, do things without having someone to push you to do it if you really want independence. Because having a license and having a vehicle is not just an independence, it's also a responsibility. It's another level of independency, but you don't need it to be independent. But if you say, I want a car, there has to be a bigger why. Well, I want it because I want to go to college and I'll have to travel. Why do you want to go to college? I want a career. Why do you want a career? Because I want money. Why do you want money? Because I want to be rich. And that's not a good enough why. Your mission statement needs to be bigger than you. We cannot forget that the greatest profit we could ever make is the impact we have. And so our why has to be bigger than me, than my current circumstance, situation. It has to be bigger than that. I spoke to a young lady who said she wants to join the Navy. When I asked her why, she said, I want to join the Navy because there I'll gain the tools to become a better person. And I said, why? She said, well, because I want to become better. I want to become smarter, brighter. I want to become more than what I can be if I'm not in there. I think that's a wonderful environment for me, she said. And with the financial dividends that I would gain, I can support, help my family, and we can move forward. This is a huge why. Taking on a massive task. But your why has to be there, present. Number 1, want to set an effective goal? Create a mission statement. Why do you want to do this? Number 2 to me is so important because if you can't do number 1, you can't move on to number 2. I said number 1 was creating a mission statement and being able to answer the question why. Number 2 is to not set goals for someone else. I'll repeat it again. Number 2 in how to create effective goals is don't set goals for someone else. What does that mean? That means I can't live your dream and you can't live mine. And so you shouldn't be chasing my dreams and I shouldn't be chasing your dreams. My goals, the ones that I set, should not be predicated on what you think I should be doing. And yours shouldn't be predicated on what I think you should be doing. Your goals should be solid and firm. You know, biblically we see that God is the one who puts the desire in us to do the multiple things that we do, and that we should do those things as if it was unto the glory of God. So it requires responsibility, and you should not set goals because mommy and daddy want me to do it. How many people do you know that you ask them, are you going to quit smoking? Yeah. Why? Because of my son or because of my daughter or because, and what happens in the moment of frustration, of irritation, in the moment of emotional burden that life can bring to us, they go back to that. Why? Because they themselves aren't accomplishing, or rather they themselves aren't setting a goal based upon what they understand they need. There has to be a moment, a wake-up call in order for them to say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be different. The same with people that are liars and cheaters, and you say, man, you shouldn't do this. You're going to burn bridges. And they may say, well, I'm not going to do it anymore. And all of a sudden you find them in the position, and you're like, what are you doing? You shouldn't do this. You should want to be better. But they can't set goals that you want them to do. right? You may have a significant other that may want you to go work out, or a friend of yours, but that has to be your goal. You can't set a goal for someone else. Otherwise, in the moment of struggles that you will encounter on the pathway to accomplishing these goals, you're going to get frustrated, burnt out, irritated, bothered. That may affect your relationship, and you're going to say, man, I don't know why I paid attention to these people, because these weren't things that I wanted to do. You can't set goals based upon what someone else wants for you, even if there are people that love you, people that want the best thing for you. It has to be something that you understand the why you're doing this. And if your why is, well, because my mom and dad want me to do it, I think that's dangerous. I think that's a dangerous move and a dangerous position to be in. And so, number one, creating effective goals, you have to have a mission statement. Why am I doing this? Why am I staying up late when no one is seeing me? Why am I going out of my way to do things that no one sees? Why am I saying this? There's so much that goes into, even doing this podcast, there's so much that goes into it that people don't see, but that's okay, because the why is bigger than any circumstance I may face, any trial, tribulation, any technical error, anything that I may face. The why is bigger than that. And this goal wasn't set based upon what someone else said. It was set because I understood that this was something that I felt passionate and feel passionate about, not a goal set because of someone else's ideas. Number 3 is so important that I think many times we overlook it. Not only do we set goals just because someone else set them, and many times we set goals without no mission statement, no idea, no end in sight, at least not a visible one, or a real one, or an obtainable one. Not only do we not have any of those, but we don't do this part, which is educate ourselves. In order to be able to create an effective goal, you have to educate yourself. It's impossible for you to effectively create a goal, create a plan of attack, and go full force if you don't even know what you're doing. Right? When I say educate yourself, I'm saying be realistic about the trials and tribulations you're going to encounter along the way. In order for you to be realistic about that, you have to know what are the trials and tribulations that exist. Right? In becoming a basketball player, you have to know that it's going to require long hours. It's going to require sleepless nights. In becoming an entrepreneur, an author, spoke to my friend Mandy, and she said that it took her 4 years to write a book. So when you talk about establishing a goal, educate yourself on the reality that there are going to be some trials, tribulations. There even may be some failures along the way as I am trying to accomplish this goal. There might even be some setbacks in the process, but I have to believe and know that this setback is just a setup for something greater. This setback isn't the end of my goal. The why is greater than this momentary situation. This is why it's important to educate yourself on the realistic trials and tribulations that you may encounter. How do you do that, Miguel? How do I educate myself? Well, you educate yourself by researching the other individuals that have already gone through the path or a similar path. Again, when we started this podcast, the idea was there, the why was there, the mission was there, but the how was educating myself and finding research and videos and reading material and just trying to gather all the information I could. But one of the things I also did was that I heard different podcasts. I would listen, and I still do. I listen to different podcasts that I like, that I enjoy, that caught my attention. They're not all the same. I don't even do some of the things they do, but I listen to them, and it gives me an idea, and it gives tools, and I examine the way they do it. In fact, here, I'm going to go ahead and show you or explain to you or mention to you some of the podcasts that I listen to, just so you can get an idea. And you're going to say, well, this has nothing to do with the podcast that you do. It's okay. That's the objective. When it comes to sports, I listen to PTI. Pardon the interruption. That's who I listen to. But not only them, I also listen to Jalen and Jacoby. I love the chemistry, the relationship. I listen to Zig Ziglar's show. Love that guy. Love what he has to bring. And I listen also to Pat Flynn. Pat Flynn is one of the people that I started listening to immediately. I just found his videos on YouTube and immediately. And I would encourage anyone to listen to his podcast. I say this, and that's just some of the people that I listen to when it comes to podcasts. But I want you to get the idea that they're not all the same. They're not all the same topics, but this helps in knowing, okay, how do you do this? How do you set this goal and have an impact? You have to educate yourself because you know that some difficulties are going to come, some trials, some tribulations, some error might come. But because you've educated yourself, you say, I know what the end goal is because I have my why, but I know that there are people that have gone through some struggles, tribulations on this road, and they've been successful. My friend, you that are listening, education will help you develop a realistic plan with many goals as checkpoints. Many, M-I-N-I, many goals as checkpoints along the way. And that to me brings us to number 4, create checkpoints. So many times we think about the long haul. Well, this is where I want to be. Okay, create some checkpoints that you know that you're heading that direction. When you're heading to Syracuse, we're in Rochester. So when you're heading to Syracuse, you got a bunch of tolls you have to go through. And in order for you to continue, you have to what? You have to pay a price. Right? You have to be ready because if you show up there and you say, hey, I know that I got to pay you this $1, this $2, whatever it may be. I know I have to pay you that, but I wasn't really ready to pay this. They're going to say, it's okay. It's okay. You got to pay another way. And so I encourage you, set checkpoints. That lets you know that you're heading in the right direction. That lets you know that what you are doing is actually what you're supposed to be doing. Educate yourself and know the reality is you will encounter some trials, some tribulations. It ain't going to all be roses. There's going to be some thorns involved. I want to share with you something that a friend of mine, Samuel Oliver, posted on Facebook a couple days ago. Man, shout out to Samuel Oliver and all the wonderful things he's doing. He said the following. He said, quote, I am a firm believer that you can bloom where you're planted. And people from all over the world will travel from near and far just to view and experience your beauty. Hashtag stay rooted in God. Hashtag stay grounded in God. What you're looking for will begin with you. Hashtag just be in place. End quote. You can set your goal as high as you want to have it. Set it high, but be able to answer the question, why? And above all else, let us not forget what Matthew 6:33 says. See, you can seek anything you want to seek. You can try to do anything you want to do. But Matthew 6:33 says it real simple. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things will be added.